Our today's topic is the basal ganglia. So, basal ganglia, why it is important to us? Not only for the here to know the subject in relation to that is to pass the anatomy, but it is required that is for the motor execution of the motor function what we are doing or performing the regular motor activities. So, without the help of the basal ganglia, the any motor execution is not possible correctly. That means when you are going to write or you are going to you are going to draw or you are sitting or you are standing or walking everywhere, what is needed, that is the along the motor activities, primary motor activities, other secondary motor activities also required. And these secondary motor activities, these are we are unable to know, that is when we are doing the performance. That means when we are walking, the primary action, that is the motor activity, primary activity, that is only the contraction and the relaxation of the opposite group of muscles by which there is the limb movement. But along with the limb movement, there is also the what is required, that is to maintain the balance, so that we should not stoop forward or to sideways, any sidewise we should not, here the we should not bend, our body should not be bent. So, or when we are writing, there is also the to maintain the position of the body, that is also required. So, these are done by the basal ganglia. So, basal ganglia, without which we cannot perform any motor activities, that is what is uh, performance of the motor activities, that is what is needed, that is to execute the motor activities. Here the basal ganglia function is much more needed, okay, without which we cannot perform it. So, how the basal ganglia is formed? So, basal ganglia, it is consisting of the striatum and the pallidum. You should remember these two, striatum and the pallidum, number 1, number 2. Number 3, that is the substantia nigra, okay. So, here the what is the striatum and what is pallidum. So, here you will see in this horizontal section of the brain, I will show you when the brain will be shown at the demonstration class. So, here this is the caudate nucleus. So, it is the head of the caudate nucleus. If you see the horizontal section, so at the level of the basal ganglia, so here what you will see, so this is the head of the caudate nucleus. This is the lentiform nucleus. So, lentiform nucleus, it is consisting of the peripherally, this is the putamen, and centrally there is the pallidum, okay. So, this putamen and the pallidum, they are divided by the internal lamina or few white fibers. So, these are here making difference in between these two group of cells. So, in between the caudate nucleus and the lentiform nucleus, there is the internal capsule, okay, internal capsule. So, here this functionally the caudate nucleus and putamen, they are same. Because of this, they are called striatum, and the central or the medial part of the lentiform nucleus, which is functionally, it is to some extent different from the other parts of the basal ganglia, so it is called pallidum, okay. So, in this section, so this is caudate nucleus, it is medial to the anterior limb of the internal capsule. So, you should remember this term. So, caudate nucleus, it is medial to the anterior limb, this is anterior limb. So, medial to the anterior limb of the internal capsule, okay. In between the anterior limb, genu, and the posterior limb of the internal capsule. So, this is internal capsule, it is very, very important. So, lateral to the internal capsule, anterior limb, genu, and the posterior limb, there is the lentiform nucleus, okay. Now, here if you see in this diagram, so this is the vertical section of the brain. So, in this vertical section, if you see this side, I have drawn here, I make this side that is prominent. So, here you will see, so this is the thalamus. So, you should remember this diagram. So, this is thalamus, I will show you. So, in between the two thalami, so there is the here lateral ventricle, okay. So third ventricle, and this is the lateral ventricle. Okay, so this is the, here you will see, so this is the, here this is the lateral ventricle, and this is the third ventricle. In between there is the, here the fornix, and this is the choroid plexus. Okay, so I will show you. So here in this diagram, if you see vertical section, what you will see, so these are the fibers of the internal capsule. Okay, so by the internal capsule, here the basal ganglia structures, they are divided into medial component and the lateral component. In the medial component there is lateral to the, here the lateral ventricle, this is the head of the caudate nucleus. Okay, head of the caudate nucleus, and here this is the lateral to the internal capsule, this is the lentiform nucleus, which is having peripherally, that is the putamen, and central part, that is pallidum. Okay, and here what we will see, that is the tail of the caudate nucleus. So tail of the caudate nucleus, that is laterally situated, lateral to the, here the internal capsule, towards the base of the lentiform nucleus. Okay, so in this diagram, another very important structure, that is the substantia nigra. Can you see? So this is the substantia nigra towards the lower part of the, here the brain. Okay, so this is the substantia nigra, that means this is the midbrain part. Okay, now here if you see the caudate nucleus, why the caudate nucleus, here the tail that is situated lateral to the internal capsule, because here you will see in this diagram, so here this is the internal capsule, the fibers of the internal capsule, they are descending downwards, they are dense in the lower part. Okay, here the head of the caudate nucleus, that is dilated portion. Okay, much more enlarged, so this is medially situated, so this is medially situated. Okay, now it is a C-shaped structure. Here the body, it is going lateral to the internal capsule, the body is going lateral to the internal capsule, then it is descending downward. So here the major portion of the body and the tail of the caudate nucleus, so this portion is called the tail. So body and the tail of the caudate nucleus, they are situated lateral to the fibers of the internal capsule, lateral to the fibers of the internal capsule. Okay, because of this, in this diagram what you will see, so tail of the caudate nucleus, this is the tail, so tail of the caudate nucleus, it is situated lateral to the fibers of the internal capsule. Okay, so what I have said, so the basal ganglia, it is consisting of the striatum, pallidum, and the substantia nigra. Okay, striatum, pallidum, and substantia nigra. So striatum, that means the caudate nucleus and the putamen. Pallidum, that means the, that is globus pallidus. So this is called globus pallidus. So striatum, that means here caudate nucleus and the putamen, and the pallidum, that means globus pallidus, which is medial part of the lentiform nucleus. Another thing, that is the substantia nigra. So these are functionally proved, that is they are taking part in the formation of the, or to control the motor activities, along with the corticoponto spinal fibers or the corticoponto cerebellar fibers. These are called the pyramidal fibers, I have already said. So motor execution primarily done by the which fibers, that is corticospinal fibers or the corticopontine or the corticopontocerebellar fibers. So these are pyramidal fibers. So pyramidal fibers, from where they are coming, so pyramidal fibers in this diagram I have mentioned. So here you will see in the brain, so these are motor area, there are two motor area, you know. So primary motor area number 4, and the secondary motor area, or the assisting or accessory motor area, helping motor area, that is area number 6. So from the primary motor area, the fibers are coming, so these are the pyramidal fibers, I have already said. So these fibers are either relating to the pontine nuclei, from pontine nuclei the fibers are going to the cerebellum, or the from the pontine nucleus the fibers are directly descending towards the spinal cord. Okay, so that there is the motor execution, so we can perform the motor function. So motor function, it is the corticopontocerebellar fibers or the corticospinal fibers, which are relaying from the pontine nuclei. So these pontine nuclei, again they are receiving fibers from the cerebellum. So cerebellum is controlling the fibers, that is the pyramidal fibers. Okay, so these are very important. So these fibers are coming from the area number 4. Now from the area number 6, what you will see, that from the area number 6 the fibers are coming and they are controlling the caudate nucleus and the putamen. So this diagram you should remember. So here the area number 6 is giving fibers, that is controlling the striatal fibers. Striatum, that means the putamen and the chordate nucleus. So I have given here stratum. Okay. Now from the stratum the fibers are going to the pallidum. So pallidum, it is receiving fibers from where? That is the stratum. Okay. So from the pallidum, now the fibers are relaying to one fiber, that is to thalamus. Okay. So one ascending fiber, it is going to thalamus. Now from thalamus, here the fibers are going to control the area number 4, that is the brain area. So by which ultimately the pyramidal fibers as well as from the area number 4, area number 6, the fibers are going by the association fiber, short association fiber, it is going to the area number 6. So there is again the 6 is controlled through the thalamus. Okay. So this is the circular or cyclical control. Okay. Now from the pallidum, the second fiber is descending towards the substantia nigra. This is very important. Substantia nigra. Okay. Why it is important, I will come. So the tract, you should remember that from the pallidum, here the fibers are relating to the substantia nigra. The substantia nigra, here it is giving fibers. So the fibers are both way, they are connected with the stratum. I have given here the bidirectional arrow. Can you see? So here these substantia nigra, they are giving fibers to the stratum as well as the stratum is giving fibers to the substantia nigra. So these nigrostriatal fibers, so these fibers are called the nigrostriatal fibers. So nigrostriatal fibers, they are reciprocally, they are controlling each other. So you should remember. Okay. Now from the substantia nigra, here the fibers are going to relay the brainstem nuclei as well as reticular formations. It is very important. So the brainstem ultimately it is controlled via the substantia nigra. So you should remember this one. So substantia nigra is controlling the brainstem nuclei as well as reticular formations. So because of this, so in my previous classes I have already mentioned, so all the motor activities we are doing or performing unknowingly, these are done by the reticular activities, like our inspiration expiration mechanism. At the time of walking, we are maintaining unknowingly our balance, or other motor activities, that is when we are eating, we are taking our foods to mouth. Obviously, we are maintaining our posture. ঠিক আছে? So hand posture, that how the control of the body or the posture of the body, or what should be the position of the hand towards the mouth. So they are unknowingly, it is already it is controlled by these activities. So here the substantia nigra is controlling the reticular formation of the brain stem. Okay. Now from the brain stem, here the fibers are going to execute the ultimately going to reach the motor fibers of the limbs, or by which we are performing the motor activities via the spinal cord nuclei. So from the brain stem, the fibers are ultimately relaying to the spinal cord. Okay. So here these relaying from the brain stem to the spinal cord, here you should remember 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 fibers are there. So these are from the brain stem nuclei, these are rubrospinal tract number 1. Number 2, the vestibulospinal tract. Number 3, olivospinal tract. Number 4, that is the reticulospinal tract. Reticulospinal tract. So 1, 2, 3, 4. These are called the extrapyramidal fibers. Extrapyramidal fibers. So you should remember. So there are 6 fibers: corticopontine or corticopontocerebellar fibers, corticospinal fibers 1 and 2. So these fibers are pyramidal fibers, and here there are 4 fibers I have already said. So these are extrapyramidal fibers. So pyramidal fibers, along with this help of the extrapyramidal fibers, we are executing the motor activities. So you should never forget this. So from the brainstem nuclei to the spinal cord, here there are the 4 fibers, they are taking origin. So rubrospinal, vestibulospinal, olivospinal, and the reticulospinal. So these 4 fibers are called extrapyramidal fibers. So you should remember this one. Okay. Now here few things, that is the extrapyramidal fibers, they are developed, that is they are ancient fiber. You should remember few terms or few things about what is the basic difference, why the pyramidal tract is developed. Okay. So pyramidal tract, they are recent fibers. Okay. they are developed after the formation of the extrapyramidal fibers. So extrapyramidal fibers, they are primarily developed. So these are multisynaptic small nuclei. Okay, so small nuclei which are situated in between the white fibers, in between the white fibers. Can you see? So they are the white fibers, I have already said. So here this is the internal capsule, this is one white fiber, this is the claustrum. So in between the claustrum and the lentiform nucleus there is the external capsule. External capsule also it is white fiber. So this is the white fiber area. So in between the fibers there are collection of nuclei. So this collection of nuclei, so these are making synapses. Ultimately from these relay stations the fibers are descending downwards towards the brainstem to control the motor activities. Because of this, these positions of the nuclei or the gathering of the nuclei, they are called the ganglia, and they are situated towards the lower portion or intermediate portion of the brain in between the fibers. These are called basal ganglia. Okay, so basal ganglia, so here they are consisting of the small nuclei which are multisynaptic, and they are the as per development they are older. Pyramidal fibers in just reciprocally here these are recent fibers, and they are not forming so much synapses. Because of this, pyramidal tract functions of the pyramidal tract, they are much more specific if you compare with the extrapyramidal fibers. If the extrapyramidal fibers are stimulated, the motor function or motor execution is not so much specific. It is broad. The function is broad, but the pyramidal fibers, they are specific. Okay, functionally pyramidal fibers, they are specific. So you should remember this one. Okay, the few things here you should remember in relation to the here, if there is pathology in relation to the here the extrapyramidal fibers. What is this? Here number one, that is the Parkinson's disease. So Parkinson's disease, that means here which fibers are affected I have already said. So it is very important. So in between the substantia nigra and the striatum there are the reciprocal fibers. So if the substantia nigra portion, if it is affected, if there is less secretion of dopamine, in that case the patient is unable to initiate the motor activities. So here one thing that is here you should remember. So if the extrapyramidal fibers are affected, here the patient is unable to start the motor activities. This is the primary problem. So if the basal ganglia is affected, the primarily what is affecting, that is the tremor. Patient is number one tremor, number two patient is unable to initiate the motor activities. Patient is unable to initiate the motor activities, it is the second problem. Okay, then third problem, that is when the motor activities is here started anyhow, but during the motor execution there is here some problems, like here patient will fall or patient will bend. Okay, so there is, to maintain the balance and the posture, it will be difficult for the patient. So here the patient is substantia nigra when it is affected in case of Parkinson's disease, number one. So Parkinson's disease, extrapyramidal diseases, number one, or the diseases affected due to the basal ganglia pathology. So here number one you should remember Parkinson's disease. So where the fibers are affected or the nuclei are affected, so nuclei, that means the substantia nigra is affected, or the fibers in between substantia nigra and the striatum, they are affected. So this is the reason of the Parkinson's disease, number one. Number two, that is the chorea. So chorea, it may be of two types. So chorea where C for C you should remember. So chorea, that means caudate nucleus is affected. So caudate nucleus is affected, so it may be of here the two types. Either it is hereditary damage of the caudate nucleus, that is called Huntington's chorea, or it may be that is due to the rheumatic fever, there is the blood spot, or due to hemorrhage in the caudate nucleus. Here the caudate nucleus may be damaged in case of rheumatic fever. So this is called Sydenham chorea. Sydenham chorea, Sydenham apostrophe S, Sydenham's chorea. Okay, so the chorea, caudate nucleus affected. So chorea, it is due to caudate nucleus affected. Parkinson's disease, it is due to the substantia nigra affected. Okay, or the fibers in between the substantia nigra and the caudate nucleus or the putamen or the striatum is affected. Okay, now chorea, it may be of two types, Huntington's and the Sydenham. I have already said where there is Huntington, where is Sydenham. Now So third one, that is athetosis. Athetosis, that means where the putamen is affected, where the putamen is affected. So this peripheral part, putamen is affected. So putamen, that means here the putamen is affected. Okay. So receiving fibers or the receiving area of the basal ganglia, that is affected. Okay. Now hemivalismus. Hemivalismus, that means here the region of the thalamus or below the thalamus, subthalamic nucleus, there is a subthalamic nucleus, this portion is affected, hemivalismus. Okay. So here everywhere the patient, where it is the what I have said, Parkinson's disease or the chorea or athetosis or hemivalismus, what thing is common? That is tremor. Number one, tremor. Number two, patient is unable to initiate the motor activities. Number three, that is during the motor activities or motor function, there is the balance that is lost, or patient is unable to maintain the posture, particularly when the patient is trying to execute any motor activities. So this is very, very important. So when patient is in resting condition, there may be no problem, but when the patient is going to execute motor activities, so at the time of execution, obviously there is area number 6 is performing, motor execution area number 4 by the pyramidal fibers. So at the when the patient is trying to perform the motor execution, at the same time there is area number 6 is affected, that is involved, or it is stimulated. Obviously there is the function of the extrapyramidal fibers, and here as the extrapyramidal region or basal ganglia region is affected, obviously patient is having the difficulty in posture, to maintain the posture, at the same time there is tremor. Okay. So these are the symptoms, common symptoms of the basal ganglia affection. Okay. Now about the blood supply, I think it may be separately, it will be here to taught in relation to the blood supply of the brain, but here you should remember the basal ganglia blood supply is very, very important in relation to the stroke. So here few words about the basal ganglia blood supply, that means here the striatum, that means caudate nucleus, putamen, caudate nucleus and the putamen, they are supplied by the medial and the lateral striate branches of the middle cerebral artery. It is very, very important, middle cerebral artery. So striate branches of the middle cerebral artery, medial and the lateral striate branches of the middle cerebral artery. So these are very small branches, they are perforating to supply perforating brain substances to supply the caudate nucleus and the putamen. If they are very thin calibered and the wall is also very thin, so if there is the raised blood supply suddenly, obviously there is rupture of this striate branches. Because of this, here these area are commonly affected. Okay, due to the raised blood supply, raised blood pressure and those are ultimately linked here, forming the stroke, hemorrhagic stroke. Okay. And here the second part, that is the pallidum. Pallidum is supplied by pallidum of the bulbous pallidus is supplied directly from the internal carotid artery, and the branch is anterior choroid artery. Okay, anterior choroid artery. So these are these arteries you should remember. Okay. So here this is about the basal ganglia. Okay, thank you.